Hey everybody, today we're taking a look at the history of the DC Universe. Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. Of course, I'm your host, Brent, and today we're doing a quick overview of another book I've never read, but I just got, History of the DC Universe. This is an Alex Ross cover from a reprint, I guess, in the 90s. But anyway, I guess the idea behind this book is post-Crisis on Infinite Earths, the big 1985-86 event where DC relaunched their universe, kind of, sort of. Everybody kind of took a new history after that one, even if they didn't have a new number one. They needed this book to say, what is the new history of the one Earth that's coming out of that storyline? And this is that story, as written by Marv Wolfman, who wrote Crisis on Infinite Earths, and drawn by George Perez, who drew Crisis on Infinite Earths. So this is not a comic book. This is I would call this like a storybook, because it's text and pictures. Yeah, it's kind of written out like a comic panel, so you do have familiar elements here with little blurbs, but it is not a story. This reads more like, if you ever read The World of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin, this reads more like that to me, having not read it yet. But yeah, all this stuff coming out of Crisis on Infinite Earths, this was the new canon, the new timeline for DC Comics, right? And it's supposed to have aligned everything correctly. Now, whether or not they stuck to this, here's the John Byrne Man of Steel stuff. So this was done a little bit after, probably, because you had to have those designs done, right? The JSA is coming because the Nazis are here. Here's how they fit into the timeline. I guess they're going to find out what happens to them at some point, right? All-Star Squadron, the Blackhawks, Sergeant Rock. That's the end of book 1, and then there was book 2. It's only a 2-book series. Batman, Superman. So now you're in the modern comics era, finding out how everybody came alive. The New Gods, Brainiac, Doom Patrol, Manhunter. Here's how Crisis on Infinite Earths happened in this new timeline. What do people remember? Darkseid, that's interesting. And then, yeah. So there's a couple of extras here. Some pencils from George Perez. These are really interesting to look. Just look at this line work on Medusa's head over here. I guess that's Arion, the sorcerer from Atlantis, right? Jonah Hex. Batman, just wonderful. And some of these are signed by him, and then I was flipping through this earlier, and some of these say like to, like, I guess the person who bought them or said happy birthday, yeah, to Saar, S-A-A-R, best wishes on your birthday, George Perez. So I don't know if that was a present or a gift from George, but it's pretty cool that they got the original scans of that. And then just the biographies. Here's the full cover from Alex Ross when it was reprinted, I guess, in the 90s. Probably post Kingdom Come, after he blew up with that, right? Carl Kessel doing the inks. Tom Zucco doing the covers. And then here's like a gatefold. Oh, gatefold directory to this gatefold. So apparently the story is, but the truth is, this was a mural on the DC Comics wall for a long, long time in New York City. And I guess it disappeared when they moved offices from DC or New York to Burbank. But this is kind of who drew what and who they are here. Got people like Bob Kane, Joe Staton, Dave Stevens, Bill Sienkiewicz, Joe Orlando, Steve Rude, Jim Steranko, Gene Colan, Brett Blevins, Frank McLaughlin, Dick Giordano, Dave Gibbons doing Rorschach over here on the end, Murphy Anderson, Joe Kubert, Arthur Adams, John Totleben, just Martin Nodell, Simonson, Andy Kubert, P. Craig Russell, Matt Wagner, Gil Kane. Man, I wonder who Matt Wagner, I wonder if that's Guy Gardner did Matt Wagner. That's definitely a Jack Kirby Darkseid, that's for sure. Who's that? Is that Ragman? I don't know who that is. But yeah, just a bunch of DC characters. But man, beautiful. But yeah, so I guess this is gone now. I believe they have the original art on one of the other pages back here in the extras gallery. saying like how they produced it, because I guess it was on an 11x17 and passed around, and I think it was three different ones. Don't know who those guys are, but yeah, they have the pages. Oh, here it is, the story down here in this blurb. Passed around, I guess, on 11x17, then turned into a mural in the DC offices, which I guess, I don't know what happened to it. Maybe it got moved, maybe it's gone, but it's a bummer. It's a beautiful piece. But yeah, it's a nice little hardcover for, a regular size hardcover for History of the DC Universe. You know, I've heard about this. I had never read it, so I figured I'd pick it up and just kind of put it in there in the library of like, this is what once was. Will they ever do anything like this again? I think they should, honestly. DC continuity right now is a giant mess between 52, Flashpoint, Rebirth, and whatever they're doing now. Like, they're just kind of, everything counts. And so how does that actually work in the timeline? I don't know anymore. But I think it would behoove them to figure out how to do it. Maybe do something like this. You know, again, that would be interesting. So anyway, that's History of the DC Universe. Let me know what you guys think of this book down below in the comments. We'll see you guys next time in the Funny Pages.